Straight up coming to you live. You are watching Flying Casual on YouTube.
Hey.
Waving, everybody. Brock's here. Andrew's here. We're going to have a good time Monday night. How's it going?
It's going. It's a lovely Monday night. It was 6 degrees today. I went for a walk. I go for a walk a lot, but it's nice to walk without like being like this, like bump it up with stuff.
Absolutely.
For warmth.
Brock, did you go for a walk?
No. Why would I do that?
Oh, come on. You started jogging not too long ago.
Yeah, it's
You've been yogging?
It's a soft J.
Are you going to continue yogging once the weather picks up?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you know that thing. Gotta be active.
Brock, we have to, the four of us, me, you, Aaron, and BWGR, Brock's wonderful girl friend, Rehab. We all have to do the Disney run.
Oh yeah.
That's a thing?
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, you run at Disney. Do you want to join us, Andrew? Do you run?
Not well. Or long.
Or at all.
Or at all.
Would you run if I asked you to run? No, man, you haven't heard of this? It's sick. They have it's a sick swag bag, but like the medals are like specific to the race, and there's different like types of medals per whatever race you're in. It's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds.
You would all know this if you listen to the Hollow News and Rebel Scum podcast every week. So you fail.
He's failed at more than just that. Chat is picking up. Hello, everybody out there in the chat. Going on.
Chat.
Hi.
Yeah. So we're gonna cancel the show tonight. Bye.
Oh, I've been canceled.
Oh, I spelled chat wrong.
Long ago.
Andrew doesn't know how to spell. Pick up his book. Pick up his book. Monday Night Live, 7 p.m. on Mondays. This is when we do the chat. Thanks, everybody, for coming out here. Dale Erdman's already saying the future is bright. I got to wear shades. That's in regards to Star Wars. We're going to be talking about the future of Star Wars here.
Damn right, Dale.
Casual. Because Star Wars is it dead? I'm not sure. All right, before we get into everything, though, let's give out of 10. What would you, Brock? What would you rate the sequel trilogy out of 10? If someone said to you, Brock, out of 10, what's the sequel trilogy?
8 out of 10. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but I think it's Star Wars. It's a new type of Star Wars, and it makes me happy when I watch it. So 8 out of 10. I said it before. It's really hard to compare it to the original trilogy because the original trilogy was it changed film for a lot of things. So it's it kind of, I don't know. It's great. 8 out of 10.
Andrew?
Go out and watch.
That's a great question. I agree with what you said, Brock. It's not perfect, but it made me happy because there were lightsabers in it. And at one point, Rey was like, I learned about the Force. So that all makes me happy. Let's go with 7.8. Heidi
gave it a 9.9. For anybody watching who doesn't know who Heidi is, she's executive producer Heidi. But she's also
that's her full name.
She's also Disney shill Heidi. She is she owns Lucasfilm also. And she has to contractually say 9.9. Can Andrew count to 10? Oh, Heidi coming in hot with the comments. Can Andrew even count to 10? Ouch.
Ooh.
That is hard.
1,
you got this.
10. Wait, let me start over. 10. No, I'll get this, Heidi. Give me time. I'll get this.
I'm somewhere on this one between a 7.5 and an 8. So I'll go 7.7.
That's where I was.
I'm going to go 7.7.
Join me.
I really like it a lot. It does make me smile, Brock. But it has its flawnesses, I suppose you would say. Its flawnesses. I do enjoy it quite a bit. But one thing you brought up, Brock, when you were saying it was that you're like, and I just said it down, is it has its flaws. And I was talking about this with Josh over at the Denim Nerd Wearing channel. And that's like when we talk about Marvel, and we talk about Endgame or Ant-Man, it's never like, I like Ant-Man. It has its flaws, but I really enjoy it. Like, no one's ever said that. It's just like, I like Ant-Man. It was fun. And that's it. Like, that is like the negative tone towards a Marvel movie, unless it's Captain Marvel, is yeah, it was fun. It made me laugh. Whereas Star Wars is like, well, I know that it's not exactly perfect because in this, in at the minute 7 mark, the lighting, it went from a high noon and tungsten lighting to, and you're like, when did you become a DP? Who are you? Like all Star Wars fans apparently are screenwriters and cinematographers and editors, and no one could just sit there and be like, let's watch Star Wars today, guys. Instead,
what's great to me is that your complaining voice that you're putting on is the same voice you use for when your dog is talking. So I'm just picturing Haley being like, despite its flaws.
Yeah, I took Haley out for a walk this weekend. She's like, I really liked the Last Jedi, but my one problem with it was I didn't like the portrayal of Luke Skywalker. And I was like, Haley, you've never seen another Star Wars movie. I know. Ignite the green.
You need to get out of the woods.
But no, in all honesty though, like, why is it that Star Wars fans have to scrutinize every aspect of the movie, whereas for every other franchise, like, I don't know, look, I didn't read a Harry Potter book, but when people saw Harry Potter, they're like, I really liked it, and sometimes it'd be like, it wasn't as good as the book, but it was still good still.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is all kind of new new ground to cover, because it's like we didn't have this type of like franchises like 15 years ago, even though like Star Wars is like the OG franchise when you think about it. Like what Marvel's done in 10 years is insane. What Universal's done with Harry Potter is different too, because it's sort of, they've set precedents, and now if you don't, it's like the whole thing where it's like, if it doesn't make $1.2 million or $1.2 billion, it's a failure. It's like, it made $1 billion. That's like the economy of a small Eastern European country. Like
I'll take a slice of that failure.
Like, these people are trying to outdo themselves, but like, let's not get bogged down with their business. And on the same note, it's like, yes, as viewers, we want something new every day, or that's what we think we want. Like, we're totally content to watch The Office and then watch Parks and Rec, and we're like, ha. Like, they're all basically the same kind of show. So we enjoy the same thing, or let's go even deeper. I went home for the weekend and I watched evening procedurals with my parents, and I was like, there is nothing different between Chicago Fire and Chicago MD or whatever it is, or like, I was like, oh, I forgot these shows existed. And so like, who cares? Like, I want to talk about what you didn't like about that Star Wars movie. Cool, then we can have that thing. But I don't know, man. It's just like, it's just, I think people just want to complain. They just want to complain. What was the question?
People just want to complain. I think that's a good point. You can't help but compare Star Wars to Marvel, yet they should not be compared at all.
Yeah, no.
But really. I'm just saying, like, the fan bases, the way that the two fan bases approach the franchise, it's like, what is going on with Star Wars land, man? Like, why can't Star Wars fan have the ability to just sit down and like, I watched the movie. I only saw Rise of Skywalker twice in the theater, which matches the second most I've ever seen a Star Wars movie in the theater. But I saw it with you guys opening night, so there were Star Wars fans. And then the second time I saw it, not one obsessed Star Wars fan was there. People like Star Wars there, but they weren't like gung-ho. And guess what? Every single one of them was like, that was fun. I liked it. There was no like, well, blah, blah. It was just like, I enjoyed it. And then, during Christmas and New Year's, you talk to people and people seem to enjoy it. But when you get to a Star Wars fan, it's never just about liking it. It's about, well, I didn't really like, why was she wearing white? She should have worn, it's like, what? Like, stop it, man. Like, There's two. Like, why is it always sand planets? Because even George Lucas, when Brock, you got the DVD, you watch the Droids cartoon. Every planet is a sand planet. That's just Star Wars. That's just one of those Star Wars things. Are sand planets. Let's chill. Brock, you've been disappearing on my feed. Rural Farm Boy called you the your ghost, Force ghost, and I said you're the Obi-Wan, and he said Obi-Wan doesn't cut out though.
Funny. Ha 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 ha.
Anyway, let's talk about the future of Star Wars because I think it's looking up. I think it's going to be a good future. I think things are going to be very positive. Kathleen Kennedy was talking at the BAFTA Awards this weekend. Did you guys see Kathleen Kennedy at the BAFTA Awards?
I can't even spell BAFTA.
The BAFTAs, the BAFTAs, right?
Yeah. No, why would we watch it?
You guys, well, because she was there, she got honored. And she was talking about Star Wars and Indiana Jones 5.
Did you see Kathleen Kennedy at the Fanny Awards, James?
I saw the Fanny Awards, Andrew. You couldn't even get Brock to go on the Fanny Awards. Brock shot you a look and said, "Don't ever talk to me again." The Fanny Awards, for everybody wondering, are Andrew Fantasia's movie awards, end of the year movie awards. So that you do on your YouTube channel. So everybody should. It's how many days is it? 9 days, right?
10 days.
But day one isn't numbered, so is it?
No, there's like an intro day, and then there's 10 days.
So
it's like the top 10. So starting from 10, working my way.
Yeah, I know there's 10, but I thought the last one said that you should check your thumbnail.
I think the last one just says final day.
Oh, that could be why I can't count.
That's why. That's why. Neither of us can count to 10. It's okay. Consistency.
We're having issues.
We've got more consistency than the sequel trilogy.
So Star Wars is continuing on. Mandalorian season 1 obviously was awesome. High Republic is the new rumor. Brock, you and I have talked High Republic to death, I want to say.
Sure. I mean, on the lack of information there is on it, but yeah.
Yes. So is there a chance now where Lucasfilm can really sink their teeth into Star Wars for the first time since Disney's acquisition?
I think so, because I just read the first 2 issues of the new, I don't know what they call it, the new reboot of Star Wars. Now it's happening after Empire Strikes Back, which is really interesting. Highly suggest picking it up.
How is that comic? I'm really excited to read it.
It's awesome. I was like, oh, this should be good. And it was just like, oh, wow. It's Charles Soule, though, always delivers, so it's easy. But the reason I bring it up is there is a minor reference to High Republic. Nothing to really start a conversation about. But, yeah, like it's clear that this is the future or what it is. I need more information because, like, I think I said on Rebel Scum, it's like, High Republic, it's like, why do you have to make a new term? I understand it's trying to say, this is when the Republic was in real power, not the decline just prior to. I get it. But, like, I don't know. Why make a new term? But they definitely seem to be putting all their eggs or chicken eggs in the High Republic basket, which is cool. I'm excited for that. What are your thoughts, Andrew, on that?
High Republic, yeah, that's a term that still has to grow on me. Still, to me, it still sounds like the name of a head shop. But I prefer, like, Old Republic just has so much more mystery to it. And I don't know I know what the difference is right now, but I don't know what Lucasfilm intends the difference to be, because right now it's like Old Republic is ancient and High Republic is just like 400 years previous. But I feel like that's gonna change at some point. I feel like Lucasfilm is still grabbing at straws and trying to figure out what this is going to be. So I want something in that time period, 100%. But I want to be totally surprised with whatever this new movie looks like and feels like. As long as there's lightsabers and the Force, it'll be Star Wars for me. So there can be no stormtroopers, there can be no desert planet. I'm fine as long as you got lightsabers and the Force. I'm in.
There will be a desert planet. I'm in for the High Republic because I think the High Republic is the time period right before the prequels. that period where the Republic stood supreme. Like Glee Claire was saying, no civil wars going on. There's not peace in the galaxy, but there's no, it's not over Imperial domain. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what that galaxy is like, because I love that prequel. I've said this on the last podcast, Brock. I love that prequel aesthetic. I hope we get something like that. I like the idea that everything was clean and neat and shiny, and then when Palpatine came in, the galaxy went to hell, and everything started getting decrepit and old and run down, and they stopped building things, like just live in there, and it was all run down and garbage. So I love that. And I hope we get some of that. I don't think it'll be all that, because I think also, when we first saw that first trailer for The Force Awakens, remember, Brock, when you first see the Star Destroyer in the sands of Jakku, it's like, it's Star Wars again. So I think there's something to be said for both aesthetics of it, and I'm hoping we get them. And the one thing I don't really like talking about, that Trevorrow script leak and his artwork, because first of all, art of those art books, that art that we're seeing, that's so early on that half of that probably wouldn't have been in the movie anyway, or even more than half. But the idea that you would get to see Coruscant now really, really intrigued me.
What do you think will be more interesting in 10 years to Star Wars fans? Talking about George Lucas's original script, or talking about Trevorrow's script? Because it's a hot topic now, because people aren't overly happy with Trots, but like it's not fair. And if you look at George Lucas, is okay, it's hard to compare, because it's he made A New Hope. A New Hope is a very good movie, but these were his original ideas. So it's I think we got to remember that sometimes the idea isn't exactly the best idea, or maybe you just don't like it. So do we need a lizard Han Solo?
That's what people forget is, look at those differences, right? Things have to evolve over time.
Yeah.
And you have to come to your senses, and sometimes budget takes over. Also, guys, like and subscribe.
Yeah. Be cool. Smash that button.
we have to like it. We have to like it.
Yeah.
I'm all in going 400 years back. Let's just touch on Yoda now, because Yoda's a thing. Baby Yoda's a thing. I think whatever they do, it's smart to have something at this point anyway. Later on, maybe not, but something to connect us to the stories that we know. And it looks like if they do this High Republic thing, Yoda will be the one. It's also impossible to do any story that takes place within 900 years of what we've seen without Yoda. So do you think, Andrew, I'll start with you, that we are on the verge of the overusage of Yoda?
I think it's a very real possibility. It's a possibility I'm not crazy about. I don't want them to overuse Yoda. But I feel like it's going that way. And to me, the scary part about throwing Yoda in these movies is that in my mind, he's going to be used the way Chewbacca was used in Revenge of the Sith, which is poorly and patronizingly almost. There was I can't remember what I was reading this comedy piece. It was like a comic or something. I don't know what it was. It was years ago, but it was joking, it was satirical, and it was making fun of the prequels doing those things. And they were doing some kind of skit about George Lucas's original Revenge of the Sith script, whatever. And in that scene on Kashyyyk, Yoda is like, "Hello, young Chewbacca. Hello, young Han Solo. Hello, young Millennium Falcon." And you see all these characters, and the Millennium Falcon has that little hat with a propeller on it.
You're talking about Muppet Babies.
Yeah. And that's what scares me about this possibility of a Yoda overuse. Whatever the plot is of this movie, it's going to grind to a halt halfway through, so that somebody can walk into a room and be like, "Hello, young Yoda," and then all of a sudden the movie I don't want that. I don't want that at all. Just have him be like a Where's Waldo thing. Have him be like the ET guys in the Senate. If you're gonna throw Yoda in there, I just don't want him to especially if this story is going to be something big and epic that's important to the galaxy. I don't want him to get tangled up in that, and then all of a sudden it just feels like he's being thrown in there just because.
Brock?
Talking about Yoda being a main character in this reminds me of that show they did that kind of was successful, Krypton, where it's like Superman's grandfather, but they were able to like rope in like a Brainiac, I think, and someone of the who is the villain from Krypton?
Zod.
Zod, thank you. Zod's like their families kind of competing against each other, and like everyone got excited because I think they put Lobo in there, but then like it was doing well and then it got canceled. So like it reminds me of that. I don't know. I like 2 years ago, someone made a young Yoda picture on Instagram or DeviantArt or what, and I think James and I were like, oh, that would be sick. But it's like Yoda is one of those characters where you kind of don't want to know anymore. It's like I'm happy with him being the goblin in a swamp, but then I said that about a baby Yoda, aka Little Kevin, aka whatever James calls it, John St. Pierre.
John St. Pierre.
And now it's sort of like I'm still like I love that we still don't know much about it, and maybe that's fine. So, but to go back to High Republic, I think we can have a whole new cast, and people will understand it. I think the first couple episodes you're gonna have to food and speed us a lot of stuff, but I think Yoda can be like a character like when we were talking about Mandalorian when it first came out. It's like, oh, Boba Fett could be their little ace in the hole in their back pocket. Little did we know that they had Baby Yoda in their back pocket. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, Mandalorian's kind of proven that you don't need a existing character. I know it's a little hinky, but it kind of is. Like, so we can introduce a whole new cast of characters as long as you explain it adequately enough. I think it's good. But like, I think it would be cool if like it was successful. Sorry, is this a movie or series? I can't remember anymore. Okay.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that anyway, no, there's something else. I'll talk about it later, I think, because it might not clue, but it might be a movie. But
yeah, I get what you're saying though, Brock. Like if it's a series, then yeah, throw Yoda in part 2, or whatever. Yeah. Like if there's a trilogy and like in part 2, Yoda shows up and basically does the good guy equivalent of everything Vader did in Rogue One, cool. And then you never see him in that trilogy again.
But if we go back and Yoda's only going to be a young 400-year-old in this series, he's not the Yoda that we've ever known. And he's not Baby Yoda. So he's this other Yoda that we haven't seen. And the thing is, when you think of the prequels, Chewie's shoehorned in there, but Yoda makes sense to be in the prequels. Like, Yoda should be in those movies. He should be on that. Yeah. He says, my own counsel I had. That's a very good Yoda impression. Please don't record that and use it as a Frankos. But I think if you go back 400 years, you can easily also do that with Yoda again, where Yoda can just be seamlessly put into that, and it won't feel like he's forced in there. It'll feel organic to the plot and the surroundings because the story that they're doing, he should be there. Now, there is a way where you'll be like, ooh, they really pushed Yoda in there. But there's also another side of it that goes, Yoda belongs in that time period. If he's this powerful jet, like we've seen baby Yoda, if our Yoda and Baby Yoda are, like, if that species has the same force abilities at a young age, you would think that Yoda would make complete sense to be in this era.
Mm-hmm. There's a question here in the chat from Rachel Alford. Not really a question, but just a comment that I really like. It gets me excited. Where Rachel says, the High Republic wardrobe and aesthetic seems like it could go one of two ways. And that's something to think about too, is, okay, High Republic or whatever new era, it's got to have not only new ships, but like new looks to what the characters wear, like the sense of like, what's the galaxy like? And that dictates what the fashion of these different worlds is going to be. And that's always really interesting too, because remember when we first got those images of Queen Amidala in like 1998 and we're like, ooh, who's this lady? Our first thing was, wow, fashion in Star Wars. That's never happened. So we got to see like different ideas of cool looking characters as opposed to just people in military outfits, and different styles and variances. And I think that really opened a lot of floodgates. That's why the prequel characters all look so much cooler than I think the OT characters, because the prequel characters have a billion different ideas of how they could look, whereas everybody in the OT just had to look like they were fighting in a military unit. So that's a really good point too. What's the High Republic going to look like character-wise? Like, what are these people going to look like? Are they going to look like cool action figures that we want to buy? Or are they all just going to be like, I'm a trooper, I'm a High Republic trooper?
I would think they're going to look like Holdo and Amidala and that kind of, and Bail Organa. That's how I would think. Bail
Organa's dope. I love his costume.
Yeah,
it's a good question though, because it's sort of, we're talking about Jedis constantly, but it says it doesn't have a title yet, but it's like High Republic, and we could have a whole cast that like maybe the Jedis aren't part of it, but they're there.
Yeah.
Maybe they are the new police system or the system that you have to avoid. Maybe we're following a bunch of, smugglers or something. Or I can totally see it. You can't really have Republic and not mention the Jedi if they are like as like a council that the way we see them in the prequels. So it's like it's kind of hard to avoid it. Plus it's Star Wars and people like lightsaber stuff. So, but I don't know. I hope. High Republic's a big thing right now, and then Mandalorians is big. Like not just in Mandalorian, like season 7 of Clone Wars, we're gonna see the Mandalorian War. Is that right? I can't remember. But they're in it, and like the fact that they're going out of their way to include like the Black Saber and Death Watch into Mandalorian, I think this is a good point to you can go back there and say, hey, here's Mandalore, whatever. I can't even remember all the planets now, but you know what I mean? Like it's in the old Republic, Mandalore was a thing as well, so that could be the other thing. And I think they're like, oh, there won't be battles, but perhaps not, because what the Emperor did was sort of like make all the planets under him. So perhaps we'll see a lot more warring planets in like disputes over. It's more like, I don't know what time period is, what a time period of exploration in the world where like, oh, Holland had this colony and France had this colony and da 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 da. So it's like there's no united thing. Perhaps the Republic is the closest thing to that, but I think it maybe we keep comparing to Star Trek where it's like, oh, let's go and meet this new kind of culture or whatever. So maybe it's that. I don't know.
What if the whole the whole movie takes place on Alderaan, and we're all like, Alderaan's the greatest planet? Oh my god! Spoiler alert! It blows up.
But yeah, no, I think I said recently, like it would be awesome to see Alderaan in its glory, right?
Yeah, for sure. They have so many opportunities to go in, and I was saying this with Andrew before. One of the things The Mandalorian, and I'll credit Dave Filoni for this. The one thing that Mandalorian I think does amazing is there's a character who looks like Boba Fett, and there's IG-88. But no. That's IG-11, and that's the Mandalorian. And all of a sudden, you have these brand new characters who are basically just characters that we've had before. But you've rebranded them, so now fans feel familiar with them and comfortable with them right from the get-go. You don't tick them off because you haven't changed any characters from Legends or anything. And you've created a whole new world and universe that new fans can also get in on and appreciate. And all of it feels 100% Star Wars. And I hope wherever they go next with the movies, the films, I hope they do something like that where they take familiar looking characters and aliens and give them to us again. They don't have to be the leads. I don't need them all to look, like a Boba Fett or anything, but we're saying, Andrew, like, give me a Rodian in a movie again. Give me a Hammerhead. I love that I can't say his name, but the Clone Wars where there's what's the Jedi name who's a Hammerhead? Andrew, you know.
No, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, you're the worst at trivia.
I didn't say in the 66 names.
But I just love that those characters can come out like that and be that. and I hope they go back to those roots. And look, I appreciate give me new stuff all the time. Keep giving me the new, but sprinkle them in with what makes Star Wars and why we keep coming back for it.
Roran Karab was the Ithorian Jedi you're speaking of.
And if anybody has a action figure, send my way. He's awesome.
There's a Lego of him.
There's a what?
No. There's a Lego of him, but this could just be not Ponda Bob.
Hammerhead?
The Ithorian from Mos Eisley. I used to know his name.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. What are we talking about?
Sprinkling in the new with the old, not just giving us all new.
Yeah, and Ithorians were big characters in Knights of the Old Republic as well. I remember that. I'm like, oh, wow. I tried replaying that game a couple years back. It does not age well, but I could be wrong. I've been dying to play Jedi Outcast as well on Xbox because it has it, or not even Nintendo Switch.
That's right. Yeah, you can play it on Switch now. Yeah. No, you're right. It did not age well. The story is still great, but it's just one of those games where geographically it's very limited. It's like here's this beautiful planet. Here's this 2 rooms you're allowed to go in on this beautiful planet. Have fun. And that's just how they were back then, how games were, especially this is such a big RPG, they had to kind of whittle down something. Yeah. But I mean, nowadays we're so used to big open world things, which I find they do age better because there's so much more variety to what you're seeing and what order you see it in. Like yesterday I started replaying Arkham City just because that game is so friggin' brilliant, and I can just, if I want, I can walk into Crime Alley and pay respect to my dead parents. That's how Arkham City rolls. And I don't have to do that, and I can do it whenever I want. With KOTOR, you're really just sort of forced down the barrel of the gun. Yes, you can pick which planet you want to go to first, but you're always going to go through that planet in the exact same way. But I would love to see, and I think we touched on this in Scavenger Scum too, I'd love to see the KOTOR story, if you're going to make it canon again, whatever, if you're just going to tell a story like that, just done in a modern way in a game, you know, with modern good gaming trends that we have sort of gotten under our belt in these past 20 years. Almost 20. That game's almost 20.
That's the rumor right now, is that EA is making a third one. It'll be modern and essentially canonize the first 2 in a way. So like they won't necessarily be canon, but you'd have to think if it's a sequel, right? Then, and if the third one is canon, then the other ones would have to be by association, wouldn't it?
I guess you all know how iffy I am when it comes to canonizing Revan. I don't like that idea, but I mean,
Revan's already canon.
Revan's name is already canon. But we talked about this on 1313 as well. You know, if you're going to make a canon video game, okay, yeah, make a KOTOR style video game that is set 4,000 years before Phantom Menace. It can be about something completely different. Don't make it about Revan. Just tell a new story. But now use that as a springboard in this new canon world that we live in, where the main character of that game, you know, Buzz Cheeseface, Buzz Cheeseface's actions are going to reverberate, and we might learn about what Buzz's ancestors get up to in the High Republic. And we might see a planet that Buzz Cheeseface visited in the cartoon that is about Rey and Finn training other Jedi Knights. Use that as the springboard to launch this multimedia thing that we really haven't tapped the potential of yet.
Yeah.
You listening, Pablo? I know you can hear me.
He's blocked you months ago. Let's shift gears to television now and Disney Plus. You guys go with that? You want to go over to Disney Plus? Because there's, I mean...
Fine.
Look, like it or not, Star Wars is living for a long time on Disney Plus. The Mandalorian came in like Miley Cyrus on a wrecking ball and was like, oh! And we were all like, well, I'm obsessed. We all spoke to each other on the phone at 6:30 in the morning. That's how much we all love The Mandalorian. Like that's never going to happen again. So things are going to happen there. So we're getting Mandalorian season 2, obviously. Cassian Andor, every other day there's an update that it might be canceled, it might not be. We don't know. Obi-Wan Kenobi is happening. As long as Ewan McGregor is alive, it will happen. He will he will shoot it himself on his iPhone, all selfie style. If he has to get that done, he will do that. So that's coming, but there's potential for more, right? They've said there's going to be more. There should be more. What do you guys think? What kind of show not that you want to see, but based on everything we know about Star Wars as of right now, after watching the entirety of the Skywalker saga, Solo, Rogue One included, what would you, Brock, I'll start with you, like to see now on Disney Plus?
I would like to see something about what happens after Return of the Jedi to Force Awakens. Just because I want to see Han and Leia get married and have a son. I want to see that fall apart. I want to see what Luke does as he's trying to figure out what a Jedi is. I mean, I know it's all doesn't work out and it's all sad and what have you, but like, I think it's interesting. I think it's something they can't just sort of sweep away because the series is done. And the whole point of Last Jedi is like the concept of what we thought the Jedi were and the Sith isn't exactly accurate, and that's very interesting. I would like to learn more, and I think the comics were trying to push at that, but then I don't know exactly why we strayed away from that in Rise of Skywalker. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little harsh. Maybe I'm being a Star Wars fan. It's like that's not what I expected to happen. I mean, we still get to see this interesting relationship between Ben and Rey, and this Exegol's Sith EDM party. Like, so I would like to see. I don't see any reason why they don't do some animation. Like, I've fallen off on Resistance. I need to revisit that. But like, we're gonna get Clone Wars. But like, Star Wars is known for making stories about the throwaway comments that the characters make, right? Like, I want to hear about Lando and Luke looking for all this Jedi stuff that they mentioned in the like. So there you go. Just give me that. And you know what? I'll watch something or read something about Janna finding out who she is. I sure. Why not?
Andrew?
First of all, speaking of Disney Plus, I know it's off topic. I won't linger on it, but how cool is it that the Marvel shows just changed their logo from red to blue for Disney Plus? Like, that's just such a neat little. Like, it's just this sweet little thing that's just like, yeah, here's our Marvel Studios logo, and it's gonna be blue when we talk about the TV shows. Like, that's just golden. I don't know why. Is
that in that trailer?
It's in that trailer. Yeah, it happens very quickly, but. It's just this sweet little advertising gimmick that worked on me because I'm like, yeah. All right, what do I want to see on Disney Plus? Well, a lot of what Brock mentioned really makes sense to me. That era between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, yeah, that's 30 years. There's 30 years of stories there. Yes, a Luke and Lor Santeca thing.
Oh,
absolutely. Like that probably would have anything that touches Luke, Han, and Leia would probably have to be animated. If you want to keep the cost down. I don't know if it's doable for ILM to make young Luke's and Leia's at an affordable Disney Plus price. If they can, yeah, sure, do it live action. But that's absolutely something you could tell us. Him with Lando as well. Another just a follow-up cartoon to Rebels about Ahsoka and Sabine. I think we all want to see that take place. I would love. Whether live action or cartoon, it doesn't matter to me. I think it can be done in live action, judging by what we've seen in Mandalorian. But I want to play in that little space we never really get to see between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. That's 10 years. Don't tell me stories about Anakin and Obi-Wan, because I get the gist of what they were doing in those 10 years. They were doing Jedi stuff and running around and falling into nests of Gundarks and crap. I get it. But tell me a story set in that era of the Republic, like when it was at its the last few years of the Republic before the Clone Wars hit and everything went to hell. Just tell me a story that takes place on Coruscant. Then just get me some goodness. There's a lot of room to play there, so that's where I want to play most if I had the choice. In a Disney Plus show that's just new and fresh, with new characters and new worlds and everything. Play there.
That sounds good. I like anything between Jedi and Force Awakens. Anything between Sith and New Hope. And I kind of would be down to watch. This might be weird. I might be the only one, but maybe just a season of what the hell were the Knights of Ren up to between from Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker? What were they? What was going on there? What were they? What were they searching for? What were they doing? I don't know. I think it could be very intriguing and fun to see what they had up their sleeves over there and wherever they made their way to. By the way, how did they get to Exegol? Did anybody ever wonder that? How did they get there? Because I'm pretty sure they didn't have a wayfinder.
I'm pretty sure the cameraman or woman was just told by JJ, wherever the Knights of Ren are, point away from them.
That's really where through all of those. Look, there's an endless amount of possibilities with it, and again, you see Marvel and the Marvel shows that they're coming out with, and it looks like they're just having fun with those. That WandaVision show just looks. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen the trailer for it, but if you like, all these things look fun, and Star Wars is like afraid to dip their toes in the water. Same with the video games. It's like we had Battlefront, and then 2 years later Battlefront 2, and then 2 years later Jedi Fallen Order. It's like, well, you've had 10 years. You've come up with 3 video games. 2 of them were basically the exact same. So I'd like to see Star Wars take a chance and have some fun with some concepts and just be like, here's an idea. And they throw it out there and we either love it or we hate it. And I think as long as they have the right minds behind it, we're all going to love it, because that seems to be, the way. This is the way. This is the way.
I don't know. I get what you're saying. Like, the movies don't take chances, but I like The Mandalorian. That was out of left field.
But that's the thing. That's the only. I'm not saying the movies don't take chances. I'm saying they need to have more. They need to allow their brand to have more fun, and just have more experience. Have the experiences. Have a failure on Disney Plus. Like, one thing we're like, I could pass. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter and all of those shows that failed before they were like, screw it, Netflix, get over here.
See, I think I know what you're saying, James. I feel personally like Resistance is one of those.
Okay. Yeah, but
that's just how I feel. I feel like we're gonna try this. We're not doing like the big sequel cartoon to Rebels. We're just doing another cartoon, and we'll see what happens with it. And we all saw what happened with it. It's like, okay, that's nice, but I'll pass now.
Okay.
It's like, I feel like Lucasfilm is worried too much about keeping the viewers, because they do have to like appease like multi-generations of fans, and that's what I think. Like, I mean, I love that Clone Wars is coming back. I love it. I truly do. It's a great show, and I would love ending, and any more Ahsoka stuff is great. But did we need it? And I feel like bringing back season 7 is just giving in to the fans, because they're like, we want it finished. It's like, cool, but like that feels like we're giving it. And like, you can say there's a lot of fan service in Rise of Skywalker. It's not a bad thing. I like that movie, but there are points. It's like I feel like we had a checklist and they were checking it off. They're like, those Rebel Scum podcast guys, they like Ewoks. Let's put Ewoks at the end there.
I agree with that, except what was your point before Ewoks? I got thrown off by Ewoks.
The Clone Wars.
Yeah, Clone Wars coming back. The only point to that was they never should have canceled it to begin with. They should have just let it run its course. They only had 2 seasons left planned. They could have been like, okay, you get one more, do it. Instead, they're like, screw you, prequels, cancel. And there was this whole cancel culture on the prequels as a whole by this new regime that came in. It was like, we hate the prequels and everybody else hates it too. And that wasn't true at all. And I think they got burned because of that. Because people love the prequels. It's still Star Wars. And it all comes down to this respect they have for what came before. It seemed they only respected the original trilogy, not the prequel trilogy or the Clone Wars animated. And when you're doing these stories, you got to acknowledge all of them. And I do agree, they definitely had a checklist going into Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
But the editor who edited it, she was like, if you do it, it's fan service. If you don't do it, they're complaining because you're trying something new. So it's kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Which path do you go down? And I think doing something new is fantastic. But when it's a 42-year-old brand and you're telling us that it's the end of that storyline, like, how do you not go in there thinking you're going to get something that's going to call back to what you love? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be. That's just how it is. I haven't seen Rambo, but I'm sure Rambo did that, Andrew.
Rambo 5 did a lot of things, but that probably isn't one of them. I feel what you said though, Brock. I agree 100%. Like, yeah, it sucks that it got canceled. Okay, cool, they're bringing it back, but do we need to bring Clone Wars back?
Yeah.
My biggest fear is that, okay, we're getting 12 new episodes. My biggest fear is that 4 of those episodes are just going to be, here's some clones on a new planet fighting a big bug.
Yeah, well, no, I think.
Why did we need to come back for that? Like, if I was them, I would take advantage of the fact that I got to tell the last chapter of the Clone Wars in this new era, and I would really go full speed ahead on tying stuff into the new stuff. Put Maz Kanata in there for a cameo. Put like a planet from Rogue One in there. Have a mention of I don't know, something like the Guardians of the Wills. Have them show up. Show that temple on Jeddah. Really make it feel like you have that gift now. You have the hindsight. Disney era Star Wars didn't exist in Clone Wars Season 6. Now it exists. Use it. So I really hope they don't just give us more like, hey, Sarge, here's another clone fight. Yay. Like, we got 6 seasons of that and it was great. Like, don't come back just to sing that same song again.
Mr. Rez has figured it out. The next show on Disney Plus, Frickin' Friends.
Frickin'
Friends. We all watched Babu Frickin' Friends doing it all.
Oh, there we go. Let's just do a young Poe Dameron show, and then Babu Frick by the barrelful.
And Zori Bliss. You don't have to worry about whoever's playing Zori. She's in a mask. Throw on the mask. Like, you're Zori today. All right. And then you get Felicity to come in. What's her name? Carrie Russell to come in, and she can voice her if you want. We don't care.
Kudos to her for keeping that mask on the whole time, outside of flipping up the thing so you can see she's actually in there.
Yeah,
man. That shows her either friendship with J.J. Abrams or how much she wanted to be in Star Wars, or both. We don't know. Let's go into our last discussion now, because look, this is one we've talked about a few times. This was our main topic last week, but things have really been heated up, going on, a lot of attacking going on. Do you think that there is potential for episode 10 coming soon with Ben Solo?
I'm going to say a hard no on that. Definitely not soon, and definitely not with Ben alive.
Andrew's trying to get all the thumbs down today.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to explain yourself for the people that are yelling at you right now, Andrew.
Because soon doesn't make sense. You just said we're ending the Skywalker saga, and you just, put a cork on this, put a period on this story. Give it time to breathe before you come back to it, or it's going to feel worthless. It's going to feel like the emotional impact of going to this movie and saying to yourself, I'm seeing the end of the story. That emotional impact will be worthless because you're just like, psych, no, it's not the end. So don't do that for at least 10, 15 years. And I'm sorry, but I love Ben Solo too, but he's dead. He's a dead body. He's not even a dead body. He's a dead pile of clothes. Let him come back as a ghost, and it's fine. You still get Adam Driver. And you're still getting Ben Solo. He's just a ghost. It's we're not losing out anything.
I think the biggest mistake was them having we're gonna call this the Skywalker saga, and make a big deal about it, and like, oh, all the trailers like the end of the saga. It's just like, if you never see a trailer for Star Wars and then you watch these movies, I don't think it would have any effect on like, oh, this is the end of it. You wouldn't even think that. You'd like, perhaps if there's a 10th movie and it's totally different and different subject matter, you'd be like, oh, this story is done, right? Do I want to see Ben Solo again? Of course I do. Adam Driver's an excellent actor, and I would love to see him again. That's why I'm loving Rise of Kylo Ren right now, because it's just like, oh, young Ben Solo, ooh, baby, like that's what I want to see in some kind of show. That'd be great. But it's like we're having an argument about like something in regards to the, like, will these characters return? It's like, this just feels like we're arguing is like, which way do you think the marketing department's going to go with this? Like, that's what I'm trying to get a point. Like, nowhere in the movie does it say the end of the saga. You know what I mean? It's the 9th movie, and hopefully the next one doesn't have to have anything. And I think it can, because look at, I guess Rogue One is almost separate, almost kind of not sort of, but Mandalorian's doing very, very well. That can totally translate to a film. So, yeah, I don't know. Do I want to? Yes. Let's get some Ben Solo. Does it need to be a movie? I don't know. I really don't think so. Sorry.
I think if they decide that he should come back, it has to be in a movie. If he comes back in a book or a comic, I think that cheapens it a lot, because to me it's just not legit. It is a cop-out. I think it's weird. No matter how you looked at it, he was not making it out of this saga alive. No. Trevorrow's script, he died. This one he did. There's been a lot of talk that some people had other ideas for him. Brock Rowe Farmboy saying, we were told this is the end, and we were, and I think that's the problem is you try to, it's almost like, okay, we're not going to do the Skywalker story anymore, but the problem is now you've said this is the end, and now, but nobody's going to believe you, because we've been told it was the end after Return of the Jedi, we were told it was the end after Revenge of the Sith, and now we're being told it's the end again. And how many times are you going to tell me it's the end? Because it's not. It's never the end, and we're still going to get more Star Wars stories. So I think, and the fact that this never felt very cohesive with the previous 6 in a lot of ways, it never really felt like a continuation truly of anything. It felt like a new chapter more than a continuation. Kind of when people are like, well, I've seen the end in Return of the Jedi. I've brought this up before. Like, they've seen the end. Now what's this? What was and there was no conflict. I brought that up. There's just no conflict in these movies until the very end. So when you're trying to sell people on the end of something, they need to buy into it a little bit more. And even Endgame, which they're like, this is the end. They're like, it's not really the end, because you're gonna get more Thor and you're gonna get more Guardians of the Galaxy, but you still go into it being like, this is the end of like the big plot points, so I think that was the miss. I think as far as Ben Solo's concerned, I was fine with his death in the movie. I love that he went that Leia kind of took her son home at the end. They both vanish, they both become one with the Force at the same time. I really, really appreciated that part of the plot, since the sequel trilogy, one thing it is about is Leia trying to get her son home, and it finally happened at the end of this. So that's where I am. I know a lot of people want Ben Solo back. A lot of people have some really cool ideas how to bring him back. I'm with you guys. I'm with Royal Farm Boy. If the story is in fact over, let's leave it be, leave it alone. Let's move on to what's next. And if the High Republic is what's next, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm all for anything that just a totally different experience, totally different pond full of new toys and new worlds and new people. And getting little sprinkles now and then to remind us, oh, hey, there's Coruscant. We're still here. We're still home. We haven't gone anywhere. But I want to move as far away from these folks, these Skywalkers and Solos and Palpatines as we can, and get into a new world where we have no idea what could happen, and we have no idea what could happen. We have no connection to anybody. Plain and simple. There's going to be less haters, less ammunition for haters. There's going to be less people being like, well, this is stupid because I would never have seen Han Solo do anything like this, so clearly they don't know Star Wars. No. You're in hater-free territory, or at least less hater territory over there.
Yeah. I don't know. We're getting new Star Wars content on a daily basis. Like, just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, there was a point like we weren't getting anything at all. Marvel having Star Wars again is insane. Like, I remember like Dark Horse was doing crazy stuff like 10 years ago, or not even more than 10 years now. It's like it's sort of it's a I don't know. We got Star Wars. I don't know. People are talking about Baby Yoda on all the time. He's a huge meme. Like, we wouldn't have thought of this like 15 years ago. It was like, what?
Star Wars isn't coming back. That would have been our first comment on it. Star Wars is never really gone. That's the most favorite line, or the most common line. All right, let's wrap this show up. Any last words from you guys, Brock?
I like Star Wars. Okay, bye.
Andrew?
I am all the Jedi.
You're all the Quadaneros. Stop lying.
That's my favorite Rise of Skywalker meme by far.
It's a really good. I also like I also like the Rey who, when she sees Indiana Jones, she goes, Raiders of the Lost Ark. That one makes sense.
That meme has blown up. It
is. We'll talk about it another day, but I really think the Rey Skywalker has really got over a lot of people's heads. I think they're looking way too into what it is and not what it actually means.
I want to live in a world where some like YouTuber makes like a 48-minute long video, like really diving deep into if Rey Quadaneros was a thing, why it makes sense. And if you pay attention this whole time, it really does ring true to Star Wars. Like, I just want to live in that world.
That's the world I'm trying to get out of. All right, guys, 8:30, 2 Men 2. Go over there, check out Michael's live stream. He does it all night. I don't know if he's sending a link. He might send a link and you can join him. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't want to take credit for that. But anyway, Brock, I'm going to see you in a minute. Andrew, thanks for being here again, I guess.
I know. You can't get rid of me. I'm sorry.
Everybody else, thanks so much. It means a lot to us. The chat was awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you for support. And as always, may the force of others be with you.
Always.